So you're a dancer, a comedian, an artist, like everything. Like,
oh God, I like to do all those things, but I also think that these are the things we can do on Earth in this moment. Have body, we'll move it. Here are some things we can get into here. So I'm just getting into those things.
my friend Liz really loves you, and she's like, take one of these dresses.
Oh my God! Evening wear!
You studied acting at NYU, is that true?
Oh, that's false. That is so false. I didn't do that.
You know, I need to talk about elite universities with you.
It wasn't elite when I went there!
It wasn't?
I went there because I really liked raving, and I really liked the city and city culture, and I think I was probably chasing the vibe of the 80s. And I think that, I had there was a real New York City 1980s mystique that I was interested in.
I do have these.
Oh, this is great! Are they chilled?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did bring this. It's all of my cat's teeth.
Are you kidding me?
No, he was allergic to his own teeth.
What else do you like to do to fill your time?
Oh God. I like creative projects. I like physical activities. I like bike riding. I like scooter riding. I like champagne at 2 p.m. Until recently I took care of my dad.
What was your relationship with him like?
Close!
Very close.
Pretty close. He wasn't a good father to a young person, but he was kind of an interesting father to an old person. And he was a psychiatrist.
Oh.
So he was he was two things, a foreigner, a Filipino, and a psychiatrist. So.
And how do you think he influenced you?
All right. Well, you know that they say if you're like the child of a psychiatrist, you're like bonkers.
Yes.
I feel something really great that happened was, my dad was born and raised and was a firm adult by the time he came to the United States. Mm-hmm. And so he went from real abject third world, poverty, full fucking poverty.
Wow.
To the suburbs. And one of the things I really appreciated is that none of this shit was a problem. Nothing here, everything is relative. So if we went squawking about I don't have Guess jeans to wear to the 8th grade dance, that is a problem. It's all relative. But having somebody in your life that that will tell you things during the Second World War I hid in a tree. I'm just like, motherfucker, okay, well, shit, bitch. What was my problem? So I really liked that. And also my dad just wasn't an alarmist.
Okay.
Nothing was really, sometimes maybe to his detriment, but I think I would rather live kind of a little fearlessly or downplaying things than to live in fear and be overreactive to stuff.
I would say that yes, you come off as very fearless. You just have a lot of charisma, and you're very supportive of the people around you too. It seems like you're how did you accumulate kind of this compassion for fellow artists, and it just seems like you must love yourself in order to be this way.
Well, I like friendship. I like friendship a lot. Mm-hmm. I think I'm in the business of, you know what? I think I like to like things. I enjoy liking things. I enjoy, so I guess there's a little thing that I'm sensing just as we're talking, which is how much of yourself is in your performance, is in your day-to-day, and is in your actions with people? Like, how much of you is kind of like the buttering of the toast on all of those things?
Yes.
And, you know, I think that I would rather have something maybe like a little chunkier and heavier in my interactions with people. And by that I mean like to like maybe front load activities, like, you know, let people know that I am enjoying what they're doing, give somebody a compliment as soon as I see it, like let somebody know that I think they're on the right track if I think they're on the right track, appreciate good things that I see.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the things I love to do is if I like something on Instagram, I'll just like everything all the way back to your first post. Because why not? I like to give people a lot of like go get 'em energy. But you know, like I think, I don't know if that's really born of self-love. I think it's born of like liking folks and liking friends, and really, you know, in this world, I think that we should try to enjoy things. You know?
Can you describe the best rave you've ever been to?
Oh my god. I went to something called DEMF, which is now I think it was called back then the Detroit Electronic Music Festival, DEMF. Okay. Now I think it's called Movement. Now it's called Movement. It's in Detroit.
Oh yeah.
The home of techno.
Yes.
Oh, motherfucker. Oh. And because their scene is a little smaller, everyone fucking came to those DJ nights. So
wow.
like, just like if you were into rap music, you came to like the Berlin basement electronic party. If you were a drug salesman, you came to like party. If you like, just there were so many different types of people there. And I will say this, just from my perspective, there were a lot of folks there that, you know, for like as a person who was in a rave scene in the 90s, you know, just as with everything, there's a certain kind of person that you imagine are going to be at these raves.
Yeah.
When I went to DEMF, the people that like showed up to party were like not the kinds of folks that I would imagine be at like a rave.
Yeah.
They were so fucking cool and like so like folks that I wouldn't think would be as like open and friendly were like generous and kind of like, I mean, maybe everybody was on drugs. You want to know something? As I'm talking, I'm like, oh no, we were on drugs. Oh no, we were on drugs. Okay, drugs, yeah. But I had so much fun. And they brought all these like Euro DJs that I like kind of mildly knew from the 90s. Oh shit, it was a fun time. The weirdest and most outrageous drugs I actually got when I was a younger person. And I mean, I don't know what this means, but I've kind of been doing drugs for a while. Like, I've been doing them. And like, hold on, let me see. I've been doing them for a while. But like when I was in high school, there was a kid I knew whose brother was in the military. And that guy's brother would bring home the most fucked up drugs. For instance, he brought home a bunch of opium. And I did opium in high school and have never found that drug again. No one has ever offered me opium since.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like, and then I'm just like, was I low-key doing heroin? Kinda. Wait a minute, I was on heroin. I mean, it wasn't one of these things where I was like, oh, we gotta do that again. But it definitely was an experience. It was, I think it's kind of also, talk about front-loading an activity. Like, to do drugs like that when you're like younger,
yeah,
is like, I mean, I think I probably fried myself in many ways, but I'm like, how much of that also maybe shaped who I am now because I did those things?
You don't seem fried to me.
Really?
No.
I seem fried to me sometimes.
Do you have any spiritual beliefs?
I mean, I have a belief that we should contemplate death 5 times a day to have a good life. I think I am very concerned with like sucking the asobuko out of whatever the fuck we have here. And the idea that my consciousness, my person, my, you know, this is temporary. I think that and also that death is so scary and final. You know, that just tickles my personal ivories, and so I'm just like thinking about that a lot. And like you know, that's like your like, what do we think of finality? How do we want to like? What's our like period at the end of the sentence? Like, what's our final note? Like, how do we want to go out?
Yeah, great question. I don't know if anyone knows the right answer. Maybe some people do. Do you think you know?
No. Not at all. But that is my guiding light, you know? Like, that's my guiding light, which is like, and also like, you know, I've lived more than half my life. Like, I'm on the way out, for real. So I'm like, all right, do I like it? Is it fun? Am I laughing? Are we, you know, like, those are the things I'm asking. And
Yes.
then, you know, sadly, there's some shit that I've seen where I'm like, I just have to turn the volume down on this. Like, I gotta step away from folks that I think are like no bueno, situations that I think are no bueno.
Yeah. How does it feel? How do you feel about life now that you're a bit older? Like, do you feel a little more confident about where you, I don't know, want to go?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, ready? Do I feel more confident about where I want to go? Not necessarily, but I have like doubled down and tripled down into like, you know, like you can't deny your predilections when you're like older. You know what I mean? Because you have so many decades to look back on. And you're like, I did it there, I did it there, I did it. I liked it when I was 20, when I was 30, when I was 40. You know, so I don't really know if I have more of a sense of where I'm going. But I do have more of a sense of what I like and I don't like, and what I will put up with and what I won't put up with.
That sounds, ideal. Really.
It's very freeing. It's very clean.
Yeah, like you can just, in the moment, you can be like, no, I don't want to do this, and just like head out, or vice versa,
Yeah. I mean, then you have to have the courage to be like, nah, I want to head out, or like saying a no to people. And that's tricky. It's tricky, you know, like I feel that I've done that when I'm like, this isn't good. Like sometimes you gotta let people go, and you gotta let situations go, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't like this. But with saying no to people, folks don't take that well.
I realized that, yeah. So you,
What do you think? How have you realized that? How have you realized that folks don't take no well? What kinds of situations have you been in where you're like, they didn't take it well?
I mean, for a long time, I didn't really ever say no.
Neither do I.
Yeah, like if someone wanted to hang out, I'd just hang out. But
And then I would let it blow up, because I wouldn't know how, you know, like I wouldn't know how to get out of it, and then I would like fucking blow it up because I wouldn't know how to get out of it.
yes.
Did you find yourself doing that?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a complicated question, but I mean, I was just gonna say someone wanted to keep hanging out, and I was like, sometimes I've ghosted, and other times I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, and both strategies, like some people prefer ghosting or some people prefer
It's true.
confrontation.
It's true.
So there's
Should we
no
ask-
straight answer.
Should we ask in the beginning? Excuse me, which do you prefer? Would you rather I ghost, or would you rather I have... Excuse me. I'm gonna give you two options. Would you prefer I ghost, or would you prefer we have it out?
Yeah.
For a long time, I think I listened to other people that were like, you need to like forgive, or like you need to be like friendly, or you know, like that's not a great way of going about it. And now I'm like, I don't know if that's true. Maybe that's true for you, but you know, the kind of maybe person that I am, I'd rather just get myself to higher ground, honestly. If I get myself to higher ground by hook or by crook, I can be nicer too. I can. It's just what I need sometimes. It's just what we all need.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, speaking of which, I brought this book, The Myth of Freedom.
Oh my God!
And the Way of Meditation, because I like Buddhism a lot, and it's. I think about it all the time. Like
Philanthropists, like they do a lot of these teachings at like the Shambhala Center in Philadelphia.
The best quote I think in that book is to be a tiger in the woods. Like be as if you're a tiger, like because it just exists. It does what it wants to do. It's not thinking about, the consequences necessarily. It just intuitively feels it out and just like goes for it. No hesitation. Just like in the moment.
Isn't that most animals?
I guess so. Yeah, like your cat is probably like that. Gorgeous.
Do you
cat.
think that? Look at that cat. There's a quote about animals, which like there are situations where zebras are attacked by lions and stuff, and they'll make it out, and the next day you'll see that same zebra like all fucked up, but like eating with the rest of the zebras, chilling with the rest. Like he's all fucked up, but he's and there's something about that I like, which is that nothing sticks to animals the way that things psychologically stick to humans.
Yes.
Like they will approach the next day without the drama of like what happened the day before. They're able to like reset in a way that is, I think what you said, like moving on intuition, moving more in like, like this isn't ruling you as much as like the rest of your personhood is ruling you.
Yes.
That's the thing about also performing, right? Like, for me, I think like when I'm performing, I'm not using the same logic that I would use in real life.
Okay. So what logic are you using?
Just like the fucking logic of whatever the fuck, or like just chaos, or like, how about just this? Sometimes with all of my collaborators, with most of them, I've said this. I've said, well, what's the thing you want to see? Stop asking if it's good, if it's bad, if people will like it, if people will leave, if it'll sell out. Like, stop asking that question. What do you want to see someone do on stage? And then they're like, I want to see someone shit on stage. And I'm like, all right, then just shit on stage and let's see what happens.
Yes. Have you always been this way from the start? Like you could just get up there and just go for it?
Well, I partied a lot and I drank a lot. And, I'm sure I was doing a lot of like crazy shit in the 90s. Like I wasn't actually like performing. I mean, I feel also there's this thing that is coming up for me where I'm like, how much are we just like enacting a through line no matter what we're doing, right? Like, I would like, because I think that there's something like freeing and joyful about performing.
Yes.
And I just think like, hold on, I'm gonna get it out of my brain hole. I think it's like maybe I've always been like this, but I will definitely say I didn't start like performing until I was probably in my 30s.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I was in my 30s, and then well into my 30s, like maybe like 35, 36, 37. And I was in a band with my husband, who was my friend then. And but it was an extension of what I was already doing. I was already like acting up, drinking, dancing, putting on funny clothes. I was already doing that, It was just like one step beyond.
When you get on stage, can you describe like what happens to your logic? Like what are the specific things that change about your persona?
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. Okay. So here's I almost go into hostess mode. Hostess mode is like, how am I touching every single, like when you had customers and you were like a server in like a restaurant?
Yes.
how did I get to everyone that's in my station? How did I drop off a little? How did I get you your Diet Coke, your burger, your fries, offer you the dessert, drop this, mace the like, how did I get everyone? How did I touch everybody in the room? How did I, you know, and like, look, you're on in a situation like that. Like when you're in a restaurant, you're like fucking on, getting everyone their shit. It's service. I think that like part of it is a little servicey to me. Like, that it's fun. I feel like I had a party, I invited you, and now I'm kind of like making a thing happen, you know, like
totally.
And making a thing happen is like, am I reaching you? Are you? I actually do a thing where I'm like, do I think everyone has had a little bit of enjoyment powder? Or even if they're like nervous and don't like it, did I give them enough, or did something happen here that is giving them like a sensation, a feeling, that they're gonna walk away and have a thought in their head and their heart, you know? And also I'm just like, did you see something that you would not have normally seen? So that's sometimes my logic, my underlying logic. And then, you know, a little bit of like, well, what would I want to see, and what haven't I seen, and what feels worth it. Also, like, also here's a question, like, how concerned are you for someone else's safety? To that, I'm just like, yo dude, yo dog, leave. Get up and fucking leave if you don't like it. You have a right to fucking leave. If this is like too much for you, if I'm drinking my own piss and you can't handle it, get the fuck up. Take care of yourself. You know, like, at the same time, maybe you leave and you're like, that was scary.
Have you like pissed and shit on stage?
I mean, there's this artist, Sarah Nattel. I don't know if you remember Sarah Nattel. She's not in Philly right now. But we did a show at Good Good. We got completely naked in the comedy club, which is like, you know, Good Good was a comedy theater. It was a comedy club, you know. It was it was comedy theater. But we were like, let's get completely fucking naked, and then. Do you know what a mouth pull is? It's like what magicians use to give the illusion of pulling like lots of handkerchiefs out of their mouth.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Well, they sell these now, but it looks like streamers. And we were like, can we put these in our vaginas and pull them out like this? And it's like this crazy like clown, and mine didn't work, but hers did. And I was just like, this is, to me, hilarious. This is so funny. I'm very interested in if this can be done. Like, I would be elated if I saw someone try and do this in a comedy theater. So that was like a motivation for us to, so that's as far as we went. That's as far as I've gone.
Would you say that you're a clown? You studied
I wouldn't.
No.
I would not.
No.
If you asked me this question 15 years ago, I would say yes. But if you ask me if I'm a clown now, I would say no.
How come?
Well, because I'm like a caribou neck clown. Clown means something really different to me now. There's a lot of training, and there's a lot of clown crews, and I think I'm just a little too Gen X to like want to be in that box. So I don't like, I would not say that now. And I actually would just say that I'm just a dude who likes what I like, and I don't know, clown really chaps my dick these days.
It's getting too structured, maybe, in Philly. There's a
everywhere.
Scene. Yeah.
I think, and I'm so happy you said that, scene. And this has to do with me. There is something about being in a scene, or like being conscribed to a scene, that I cannot have for my personhood. So I'm like, no, I'm not. I wanna. It doesn't feel free to be. I don't like definitions. I don't like like they're a clown, they're a this, they're a, you know, it's limiting.
For sure. I relate to that a lot. Yeah. It's just not exciting anymore once people box you in. What's your gender?
Oh my god. Like from a very early age, maybe like from when I was maybe in elementary school, I was really attracted to this person that I saw on MTV, very early MTV, named Adam Ant. Do you know who Adam Ant is?
No.
Well, I saw them on the MTVs. And I was like, that is aspirational. Adam Ant was a really, to me, like a gorgeous. I couldn't figure it out. His name was Adam. Like, it's a man, but he wore like lots of lip gloss, and he was maybe dandy, but also like cosplaying 16th century pirate vibe kind of. And I was like, God, I think that's my shit. I like really like what is going on here. But also, you know, I think that I am, hold on, let me say it. I am attracted to men, and I see myself as a woman person. I'm a woman person with like I don't know, something happening around the edges. Like, I think that some of my styling is like a 16-year-old skater. So I think I would say that.
You have cross-dressed, I think, in one of your videos in a school. It was called Joke School or something like that.
Oh yeah.
How did that feel?
Normal.
So, okay, you can be into that kind of a thing, like playing the other gender.
Yeah, but okay, so now, like, let me like cut into this, because this is sort of a difficult thing for me to piece out. Sexuality and gender is hard for me. Like,
Right.
It's really easy to be a 15-year-old boy, but then it's hard for me to move into a space of like, you can also be that and like men. You know, I get confused in that one, and I think a lot of that has to do with being born in the 70s and raised in like the late 70s and 80s. I think that I am, it malfunctioned me. it trapped me. It fucked me up.
Okay, question. What do you think about cancel culture? And like, I recently heard that like 10% of people make the content for like online social media, and then the 90% of the population just looks at this content, and it's all about like the 10% are the people who have these extreme opinions, you know, and it drives attention and monetization and everything. How do you feel when you're online? Do you have any kind of experiences like posting anything that was controversial?
I mean, I'm sure somewhere in there, you know, that show that I did, somebody went to see that show and they were like, I am so scared and offended by this show. They did not like it.
Which one?
That pedestrian circus show that you saw.
Really?
Yeah. And somebody wrote a review for like dance shit, thinking dance. And they were like, this is treacherous, this is scary, this is not clown, this is not what I think clown is. They have a right to their opinion.
So you can handle criticism pretty well.
Well, I didn't like it, but I was also like, I didn't like it, but I loved it. I didn't like it, but I bathed in it. I didn't like it, but I was happy that they said it. I'm sorry if I spit on you.
I don't know if you did.
I was like, that's fair. If this is how you feel, I'm like, don't tamp it down. Say it if this is how you feel. And I'm like, if one person sees this show and feels this way, I bet there was two, and where there's two, there's four. So this is for y'all. Like, if this is your voice and this is what you thought, and you didn't think this was clown, and you know, again, I don't think it was clown off the top, but I did think that it was irreverent, loopy, loud, rambunctious, yeah, all of those things. And if that's not your bag, that's not your bag. Do I think I'm evil? No. Do I think I was out to get anyone? No. If you saw that and you thought I was out to get you, look, I am so sorry. That must be a really hard life if you think that I could get canceled at any moment for some things, but if I thought about that too much, it would make me not be able to move. So,
right. And I mean, you want to be a little controversial, you know? I think it's good because it's like, it's fresh, you're attracting attention as a performer, and yeah, and I feel like, you know, critiques in art school, they were the worst. I hated them, to be honest, because we were all just starting off, and it's like, I still feel like when I'm exploring something new, I'm like, I just need some encouragement right now. You know what I
yes.
mean?
Critiques. I remember I was in the school that I was in allowed me to take classes in multidisciplinary classes. So I could like go to the film school, I could go to Tisch, so I took a ceramics class, and I tried to make something that in ceramics class that completely blew up. And I was being so negative about it, and my teacher literally was like, "Stop! You're not allowed to say what was wrong. You have to start saying what was right." And I'd be like, "Well, it blew up. That was negative. Stop. Start over." And this bitch, to this day, I'm just like, he just wouldn't let me say a negative thing. I was angry. I was mad. I was so mad that he wasn't letting me express myself. But I kind of go back to that, where I'm like, I think a critique should be, sure, some, hey, here's a thought that I have about this that might be some difficult to swallow, but some of it has to be positive.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
You know, I'm thinking about something. I did like one of these like a preview or like a, you know, experimental, I think it was like an experimental theater comedy situation, and you just like brought some like raw dog material and just like threw it up, and like people did like an art, like as if it was an art critique.
Okay.
So everybody had to go around the room and kind of like talk about it. And somebody was like, this performance was really scary, and I felt really scared. And I said, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, what do you mean scary? You felt scared? I'm like, it's a show. Like, do you feel scared when you go see Chucky? Are you like, is that what you mean? I was like, I don't want to, okay, I was a bit confused, and I don't want to say I was defensive, but I was like pushing in. I was like, please tell me what you mean by scary. Like, I cannot understand. Like, we're in a theater, and you're in a seat, and this is happening here, and it's a show. Like, what do you mean scary?
Yeah.
And then finally they go, it was psychically scary.
Psychically scary. Do you think you're psychically scary?
I do now. I do now. I'm like, okay, somebody thought this was psychically scary. Again, I'm going to go back to, if one person says that there's got to be two, and if two people think that there's got to be four, somewhere I can be psychically scary to people.
I get it. I mean, I understand in a way, I guess, why someone might say that. And yeah, like, I feel like that's why I was trying to get to who you are as a person when you come home at the end of the day, because can you describe your relationship with like your husband and like,
oh, deep cut. just like so, oh my God, can I even describe my relationship with my husband? I have been with Tom for like 20 or 21 years. Can you imagine what shit you get into when you've been with somebody for 21 years? Can you imagine the shit? I mean, Tom, I can only imagine, must have seen me in like 75 different lives. I can only, like, you know, when I think about him, I'm like, God, it's so, I don't know if you have friendships like this, or, I think it's hard to touch down into something where somebody knows you consistently for that long, in that close. Your parents maybe? Your parents. When I met him, when I started dating Tom, I was in my 30s and he was in his 20s.
Okay.
So 30s to 50s, like, what the fuck? You're like a whole different person. You know, there's some things that Tom has said where he's like, I thought you would grow out of this. And I was like, I'm like, baby, what about this ever thought I would, where did you make that mistake? Why did you think I would grow out of it? I'm like, you know, there were assumptions that I'm sure he was making about who I would be, but just to describe it maybe in a nutshell, like, oh God, it feels so fulfilling to just take the nesty plunge into someone that's like knowing you that well, like, and knows you that well, and like is your like your ride or die. And somebody who can hold on a minute, time travel in your life to be like, remember that time you did this and it ended up like this and it wasn't good? Look, you didn't do that this time. Or like, remember when like this happened to you and then this, then la 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 la, and like, look, this one was different. Like, look, you grew. You didn't do the same things. You didn't behave in the same way this time. To have somebody who can mark that for you is like, it's kind of magical.
That's so cool.
And like, oh God, just I've seen you be diabolical. And, you know, honestly, like, maybe even watches you do things that they don't personally like, but they have like hitched their chassis to this horse, and so they're like, I don't like this, but I am in here with you, even though I don't like it. And I'm saying my piece, and I'm letting you be who you are, and we're gonna navigate what this is like when I don't particularly enjoy what's happening right now.
That's incredible. How did you like, what keeps you holding on to each other? Like, how did you know that like you wanted to keep holding on to him?
You know, there's something like when you're like, it's year 9, it's year 12, it's year 15, it's year 17. You're like, nobody left. No one. Okay, one of the things I will say is that I realize that I'm very influenced by fun. And Tom is so much fun.
Aww.
He's so much fun. He also, like, sometimes to his detriment and sometimes not, he like can make a shit situation kind of okay. Like when we were taking care of my very ill dad, he's got this like Instagram story. It was me like pushing my dad into the hospital, and I was like pushing him in this like wheelchair. We had to get a hospital wheelchair, and I was pushing him, and I was like kicking my feet up and like driving my dad really funny. Like my dad was probably like, I'm dying, please stop. But I was like driving him around, like kicking my feet up, and then I saw that Tom had made an Instagram story where he put the song Popcorn. Do you know that song? Dun 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 dun. And it's like me like literally driving my dad to his demise, and like just seeing that Tom had done that, just on it for, I think some people could have been like, you fucking bitch, but for me I was like so thrilled that this person tried to put a little bit of levity in like a really sad, fucked up situation, and we were like in it together, and yeah, that's a thing. Or like just being with me when my dad was like actively dying, and we were watching like Three's Company at my dad's house. Like my dad's dying, and we're like looking at Jack Tripper and like making jokes, and like I was just like, shit, I'm just fucking in this shit with this bitch.
Wow, that's deep. Wow. Were there things that you had to work out, maybe like leading up to him, like whatever relationships obviously you had before didn't work out? Like what did you change certain things about yourself that kind of contributed to the like how functional this relationship
Definitely. But I think I made all those adjustments in the relationship.
In the relationship.
Yeah. Like shit was careening like off the highway, and I think adjustments were made within the relationship to like make it livable or to make it work. Look at this.
Yeah, I was hoping your kitty would come into the frame.
Look at this! I've done 3 Vipassana retreats, and one, I think it was called I'm going to mispronounce it, like a metta or metta, where you go to the place where you're meditating and you like fix it up, you clean it, you like sweep and clean, and then like 3 times a day you meet with your sangha or whoever else is there to like meditate for an hour. So I did one of those and 3 10 day. Here's the thing they don't tell you. They say it's 10 days. They don't count the first day or the last day. So it's 12 fucking days. And it's no touching, no talking, and no eye contact.
Damn.
And you wake up, I think you wake up at 4. No, you wake up at 5. You meditate for an hour. At 6 you have breakfast. All of it silent, and all of it no talking, no looking, no eye contact, no gaze. The gaze is down.
Mm-hmm.
And you eat in silence, and then you meditate from like 7 to 12, and then you do a group meditation, and then from 1 to 2 you have lunch, and then you it's it's like literally insanity producing, but it's kind of also I'm just like, they throw you in and have you doing stuff that's like what I consider kind of advanced level alone work, and they do it in prisons.
Do they? How was it for you? Was it enlightening? Do you have like a spiritual experience?
It was, to me, it was a lot like drugs.
Oh yeah, like you felt high?
I felt high, but I felt insane. I felt like I was pushing myself to the brink of insanity. Wow. And I felt like I was so, I don't think a lot of folks go 10 days in their own head.
Right.
Nothing else. Your meals are still here. You're with folks, it's not dangerous, but you are with yourself. I don't even know if anyone's like really with themselves in this way for like a day.
Right.
You don't hear your own voice. You're not using your voice. You don't talk unless you want to see the teacher. You see the teacher, you can talk. Mm-hmm. And I would see like the teacher, but I think one of them I went to the teacher. The other 2 I didn't, because when I went to the teacher and I was like, yo, I'm fucked up. I'm fucking losing my mind. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm like sitting on the floor for like 17 hours a day. I'm fucking losing my mind. And the teacher goes, are you dead? And here's what I did. I go, goodbye. I just left. Because I was like, no, you're right, I'm not. No, you're right, I'm not dead. And let me just like see what happens the next 10 minutes. I just left. I was like, thank you very much.
And you went back. You did
Yes!
multiple.
Yes.
Why did you go back?
I had to know more. I had to, it was so hard. So hard. It was a break from life. It was a real, I don't even want to call it a reset. It's just like, okay, also, I think I'm very much into, I'm on Earth. And I'm in this form. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Okay, this is a thing that is an option. Also, like, I'm in America. I'm here. I'm in a place that offers something like this. I have access to this thing. I should go do it, you know?
Don't they feed you less the next time or something like that?
Absolutely. When you're an old student,
Yeah.
the last meal is tea.
Whoa.
But when you're an old student, and maybe I shouldn't be giving it away, but when you've done it once, you realize that this is a practice of jumping off the planet. You realize that this is a practice of getting out of your body. You realize that it's a practice of, honestly, like almost body denial. and
Wow.
like that this needs less, and that like something else is going to get more, and it's like a part of you that you don't feed, which is like something almost outside of you, and that the body is your subconscious.
Wow.
And you know, like your body is that like, so what I was noticing sometimes is I would, like in meditation, I would think of like something that really chapped my dick and like really bothered me, and I would break out in a sweat, and I'm like, my form is taking, nothing is happening, I'm just sitting on this pillow, but this is working me up so much that I'm hot, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like just making connections like that between like your brain and your body, that your body is like a holding space for your shit and keeping tabs, and how can you give it less, or how can you I mean, I don't know if I'm smart enough to talk about this stuff, but it was like yeah, body denial and like life denial in a way, and it was it was freaky. It was hard. It was so hard. I think I'm also into things that are a little hard.
Well, yeah, because there are opportunities for growth. I have gotten to the point where I realize that everyone has different perspectives. Anything that you think about in the past or the future, it's all like a delusion. Like it's just from your perspective. It's not really the truth.
Yes, it's chatter. It's just from your perspective. I love to think this one. I'm like, this is just what I thought here. It's not the truth. I'm having an opinion. All I'm having is an opinion. This is not reality. I am not the person who. I love the idea of like fortune telling. There's like a practice, like a therapy practice of like, you don't know what other people are thinking. You're just having your own thought, and that's not the truth.
You're just thinking your own thought, and that's not the truth. How does that have to do with fortune telling?
Because the fortune telling is like, you have this, sometimes the fortune telling, and I think it might have been like a therapy term. The fortune telling is, I know what the doom and gloom is, or I know what they're thinking, or they're thinking this, and then this is going to happen, or like, they don't like me because I said this, and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're kind of like conscripting like what's happening in the moment, but really you don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Really, you don't know what they've made of what you just thought. Who are you to say what another person is thinking, and then what will happen 5 minutes from now because of that? And that's the fortune telling. I fucked this up because I said this and they hated me. Blah, blah, blah. You don't know. That's just your fucking thought. You think you're right? You're just some dude. You're just, that's just what you thought. That's not right. That's not the truth.
Yes. Precisely. Amazing.
Isn't that kind of freeing?
100,000,000%, yes.
And isn't that something that kind of came out of meditation? That came out of meditation for me. How much I thought about what was, and also when I did the Vipassanas, every single time, the last day you can talk, and so you talk to people, and I remember every single time someone would say, I thought you were like this, and I made up a nickname for you, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, bitch, that's just what you thought. And they're like, wow, you're so different than the thing I was thinking. I'm like, well, what were you thinking? And I'm like, that's just what you were thinking. Look at how wrong it was. It's not a delight. You're so wrong, you have no idea. The first time I did it, I met this woman, and she just looked so zen. She was just doing such a good, like, she just seemed like she was doing it right. And like afterwards, at the end, we got to talk to each other. And she just really like busted my bubble. She was like, girl, this is the first time I've ever been here. I was like, yeah, but you like had it down and you were like setting such good posture. She's like, I don't know. She's like, you know what I do for a living? She was a kids photographer. She went from school to school and took like kids photos. But I guess she was older, but she was like, you don't know me. And I was like, I don't know anything. And yeah, that was very like, that was a big takeaway. And the fortune telling, I think, is more about like, we can't say what anybody thinks about us or what's going to happen in the future because we did anything. It's putting much too much focus on like what we're doing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was helpful. you can go a little nutso. They like kind of did an interview with me. They were like, you know, you can go a little nutso. Do you think you can handle it? I was like, I don't know. Can you handle me? I'm like, I don't know. That's for you to decide. I don't know. You figure it out. And they were like, you know, you have to surrender your phone. You have to surrender your keys. You surrender your phone and your keys. You surrender all your shit. Okay, the third time I did it, I snuck hard-boiled eggs in. I was so hungry.
Oh no.
I snuck eggs in. And I ate hard-boiled eggs! Because I was hungry.
How many did you sneak in?
Oh, 12.
And like you had one per day or something?
And sometimes an egg and a half if it was really rough.
Well, they really starve you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This will kind of. If you really double down into like the old student stuff, it's like tea. Oh, I was doing such fucked up shit. They don't say no, but I would like make the tea and then go over to all the fruit. I would make the tea. Right? And so you could have like a cup for tea, and then I would go and get like a drinking glass and pour the tea in a drinking glass and then put bananas like in the tea. And no one told me not to do it. No one told me, but I was like putting all the shit in the tea and making the tea like everyone else, and then pouring it into like a big glass and then putting like oatmeal in it and shit and being like, I'm so hungry. And some people were like, no one yelled and no one called me out. And also I think that was part of the meditation, which is like, I don't know, I can be told something. I can be told something and still be who I am. And unless someone's like, dude, you're fucking this up for everyone else, let me wait for them to tell me that. I'm just gonna like be out here. I was hungry. I put a fruit in my tea. I put peel a banana and just have it sticking out of the tea and be like,
That is so funny.
and then like go back to my room and like crack eggs and like eat eggs. Oh my god, I'm a bad Buddhist. I'm the drunken Buddhist.
Well, on that note, I'm like ready to end this video.
Oh my god! We've been here a long time.
Yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.